we kind of cover what the Titans have been up to in the intermittent period leading up to the second season. When you go back, a few months from now and you binge through these, if you're not listening as we're uploading them quite yet, you're still catching up, you can listen to them back to back as if they were all one episode, or you can break it up. But I'd like to do this just to make sure that the overall episode doesn't run too long and is more listenable. But without that out of the way, I hope you enjoy this prologue episode and the start of season 2. So, you see, the question and answers period took up about 45 minutes by itself. And the actual episode, well, it wasn't, it wasn't too short either. If you remember the episode Masks of the original season, that one's first episode, that big, long combat against the robots, yeah, it was more like that. And so I didn't want to slam everyone with a really long episode. So what I'm going to do is turn the question segment of this episode, which is really good, by the way, I don't think you should skip it, into its own standalone prologue. Hello, everybody. We are back for season 2 of Teen Titans Roll.
I bet you didn't think we'd get another one.
Woo!
Yeah. I didn't, to be honest.
The funding came through.
I don't know.
That's right. The network picked it up. We're still pumping them out.
We're not. The network's not giving us any more money, but we're still chugging
get
along.
Money to begin with.
No.
The frog cheers.
Wait, we're not getting paid?
They're not giving us money, but they're keeping our loved ones hostage at gunpoint.
Imagine we find out Joey's been making money and giving us none of it.
From all those sponsorship ads that he plays that none of us listen to.
Listen, when I start one episode going, BetterHelp's not so great, I used it for a while, and then the next episode I go, and today we're sponsored by BetterHelp or whatever.
They're amazing.
So I remember when I was like, I'll have NyQuil sponsor us, that would be awesome. I
can't wait till we actually have a sponsor, like sponsor codes and shit like that.
All right. So we are back. We have episodes out of our in-between season show, Teen Titans Go Die, where Paul puts us through a nightmare of his creation. And that was really fun. And
be comforted, and then it became a nightmare for me as well.
It was just a nightmare all around. But hopefully that picks up on the current thing algorithm and becomes an inroads to this, because it's pretty accessible since I don't sound like a robot in those first episodes. But yeah, so that was really fun. And now we are back for the second season. Guys, I have questions. I actually prepared questions.
Oh my god, Joey.
Yay.
But what about the mandatory 2 hours of opener where we talk about what the questions should be?
Listen,
Edits out every
yeah.
single time. Painfully.
I feel like I had one of the best first questions to this entire series.
Yes, we don't need to talk about me explaining hurricane season to you guys for the better part of 15 minutes, or
No,
whatever
please
the
do.
thing is. But I have questions. And so I think I'll just get right into it, since that's kind of our icebreaker to get into these things. So first question. So Charlie.
Yes.
So in last season, Raven was given the tip by the demon Etrigan to seek out the help of Lucifer Morningstar. Quote, if you wanted to leave a scar, against your father. Do you imagine that Raven would look into that possibility at all? And given the fact that it's been 3 months in world between the last season and now, do you think she already has?
Yes and yes, and I wouldn't have known any of that if you hadn't reminded me. So.
There it is.
This is what this section is for.
Yeah, I realize what you're doing here. I see.
Right.
of
So,
course, in
yeah.
real life, if somebody had told you that you need to talk to Satan in order to harm your dad, you might remember that.
Yeah, I probably would have. Yeah.
Right. I just want to make sure that we set a certain basis off for the beginning of the second season, remembering the plot points so that we don't just, or at least so that it's not unintentional when we leave them behind and never do anything with them.
I see. So this is a recap episode, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, this look. If we're gonna spend 20 minutes on questions, it might as well be things that are actually pertinent to the.
I like this a
the
lot.
characters. So, yeah, basically, and I go based off of production release dates when I need dates like these. It's been 3 months since the last released mainline episode. So basically, if you want to have been studying about this Lucifer Morningstar figure, which I will remind you that John Constantine was like, yo, don't.
Yeah.
Probably good advice.
But you don't have to follow good advice. When has that ever been interesting?
I mean, didn't I also drink in that episode? So
you did. He also, yeah, that's also the guy who gave you and your friends beer. So, what does he know?
Oh, was that the guy who gave us beer?
Yes.
Yeah, Constantine.
Oh, I thought you meant Lucifer.
No,
not
yet.
We have not met Lucifer.
Not yet.
So, basically, if you have a lot of books and tomes on different arcane subjects in your room, it would not be hard for you to have started the beginnings of some research if that is something that you are interested in. And if not, then that's fine too.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna look into Satan. That's cool.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for sure. This will be something we will come back to back and forth throughout the different episodes. But go ahead and for now, just roll Arcana for me.
Oh my gosh, I got to use my new sheet.
Okay.
15.
That is a 15. That's all right. So I think for 3 months, this represents the success of your research, because this is it's a very like accessible and yet also like mysterious subject. Obviously, you Google Lucifer, you look him up in the Bible, or no, I guess not the Bible, but like, other commentaries, you're going to get a lot of things. There are things about your father associated with the legend or the mythological figure of Satan. There are also things about this Lucifer Morningstar. And so that's an interesting thing you learn right off the bat, that the same kind of like persona, at least on Earth, associated with your father and also Lucifer. And so you think that if there's anyone that could challenge your father, it might be the one whose name is kind of tied up in a singular story with his. I will say with a 15, you haven't quite gotten to any of the truths, right? You've gotten to the stories. You've read a lot of the stories about Satan, air quote, and you are progressing in that direction. And D&D is totally not satanic. It's fun for your kids. We are totally not researching Satan right now. First thing of season 2.
Searching Satan in order to kill Satan.
Yeah. But basically the bits of the beginnings of what you've learned is that, yeah, there is a separate figure that also inspires these stories about Satan other than your father. And that figure also seems similarly powerful to your father. with all these tomes you have from Azarath and stuff, and you haven't quite found what you need yet to figure out how to find the truth of how to figure out how to get in contact with him or all that yet. But you know kind of what Etrigan was talking about. So yeah, that's that for your question. So you've been researching Satan.
I did it.
Yay, good job. All right.
Pretty good episode. We all good?
Yeah,
Hey guys.
The end. Tune in next time.
Okay, Paul.
Okay.
Hey. So Starfire's had some crazy emotional development last season, right?
Yes, it has
You
been
know?
a challenging time.
Yeah. So there's been more of a relationship with anger and sorrow, I think, with events like what you went through with Blackfire. Do you think those feelings are resolved or have they changed at all since the last time or since last season? And how might you want to portray that, both in a role playing sense and also your choices mechanically? Oh, and also, you had a crazy vision of the future or something.
Yeah. I think
Oh yeah, and the whole Speed Force.
I think that my confrontation with my sister probably led me, well, not probably, I'm the character. My confrontation with my sister led me to be more resolute in who I am. So I don't think a lot of her essential traits have changed, but I think she's doubled down on a lot of things, similar to how she's kind of doubled down on the superheroic ethos of non-lethality over the course of the season.
All right.
But she's more aware of her anger and more aware of her sorrow, and I think more willing to maybe use some of that for positive ends, because I don't think the Tamaranians really believe in shutting out emotions.
Right, for sure. Very interesting.
Yeah, so I do think that there might be some soul searching going on. Probably a lot of meditation, and maybe some leanings towards alternate class levels.
Okay. Interesting. All right. But yeah. And what do you think about that vision of the future you had? I can kind of refresh it a little bit for you if you need.
Oh, the machines took us over, right? It was.
Yeah. So I
Terminator.
listened to it recently just to be fresh myself.
Yeah.
A bunch of machines, armies of machines. This weird warforged man who you don't know is Fix-It, but is.
Yeah.
Flooding over the city in all these different futures. Agent Morgan crying out to you about finding the children and them being the key, and you seeing two children. One that you recognized as Kyle, that friend of Cyborg's that he met in the park, and another one that you don't recognize, a girl with blonde hair and a ponytail. And they both turned into horrific robots and were smashing things up in these visions. So, but that stuff seemingly hasn't happened yet. So it's up to you what the discussions, if any, have been between you and your teammates about what you saw in the Speed Force.
Well, I think I would be talking to them all about it. I think I would talk to Robin because he's still our leader. I think
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by?
I think that I would be talking to Cyborg because he's the expert in mechanical things, and I would be talking to Raven about it because she is the one with visions of the future.
Cyborg is also the
And you would
expert
not be
in-
talking to Beast Boy about it because what the fuck does he know?
Yeah, Beast Boy's there probably, but there's no reason to bring it up to him necessarily.
His eyes blink synchronously.
But I would definitely be trying to. Again, I'm not trying to be a doomsayer, but I am trying to prepare us for the robot apocalypse.
All right, fair enough. I mean, let's ask briefly the rest of the team. How do you feel about that? Are there any preparations you would have wanted to make in the intervening time? You would have done. Might have made you might be able to make a little bit of progress before this first episode, if there are certain things you want to pursue in light of this premonition.
Is there anything that like Raven could do vision wise or like future wise?
Probably.
Something to get more clarity on the situation.
I mean, this is a mystery, right? So I'm really gonna leave it to you guys to figure out together. I'm not gonna say very much or make many suggestions.
Oh no.
I mean, being Starfire is under the impression that Raven can see into the future and find out if this is true, and Starfire is under the impression that Cyborg could probably do some kind of computer thing to try and find the robots.
Right.
I guess
I
my
mean,
question is, can
Maybe
I?
if we try and track down the children, like, I don't know if that would do anything. We know Kyle was met, but I don't know who the other child is.
And I assume Starfire can give a pretty good description of the other child.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
you can give a
detailed.
description. That might be. I mean, how helpful the verbal description of a person is?
Yeah.
It really depends. Some people have a skill set towards deciphering that kind of information.
Do I have anything in my kit that could track down someone based on a description using visions of the future or whatever?
I think you have locate creature. Now that's 1,000 feet.
I have Scry!
You do have scry.
How does Beast Boy have Scry?
But did I even meet Kyle? That was Cyborg was talking to him. I do not remember if I was
You might
there.
have seen him in the park. I don't think you interfaced with him directly.
Would I be able to do locate creature based on a description?
Let's see. I mean, if you click
The
that
spell
spell,
says I just have to describe or name a
I could
creature.
disguise self and turn into the child, couldn't I?
you could. It would be based off of your memory.
Mhm.
You were
Pretty
like
close.
bleeding out of your ears and stuff. Well, when you were seeing that, so your vision's your mental image is a little hazy. There's
Who was
also
Kyle
lightning
again?
and stuff flying around. Kyle was the kid with the prosthetic arm that in the episode where you were supposed to have a big soul searching thing, you skipped that by being responsible. But nevertheless, this was a kid in the park.
He was a little
that
kid
you
with a
talked to.
prosthetic
He
arm
was like
who
a big
you
fan of
ended up
yours.
talking to in the park.
Yeah, but why are we looking for this kid?
Because
actually-
Starfire had a vision of the future of like robot apocalypse, and who was it saying? Someone said, "Find these children."
Okay.
Yeah, Agent Morgan cried out to you in
Agent
a part of it.
Morgan.
The
Morgan.
FBI agent who's the Plastic Man's girl.
Maybe we should talk to Agent Morgan.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
Nah. Seems kind of like a douche.
Yeah, I guess I offer to find the girl with Starfire's help.
Yeah, I think we try to find the girl.
Right. So
Find that girl.
I think it's a situation where in Jump City you have 3 months. Now it's just a question of like what you can figure out in 3 months. You're going off of a boy Cyborg met once, and then none of the rest of you saw. And I actually think you didn't see him in this version because y'all went and kicked the shit out of Mumbo, and and Cyborg talked to him once. And I think in the original episode he talks to him twice, but you'll only once. I think I don't remember, but point is I only think Cyborg's met Kyle. Locate creatures 1,000 feet. It's basically down to patrolling the city. And you guys will be doing
move
city
around.
patrols anyway on your
I remind you guys, I have Scry.
What the
Right.
hell is Scry?
You can
Quick
look at
I
them.
on it so it
can
pops
look-
up in the chat.
I can find where, like, it's a spell. I can find where people are, kind of,
Yeah.
or I can spy in on people if I know who or where to look.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, if Starfire turns into the kid, Beast Boy would have a theoretical vision of him, so he could potentially scry and figure out where he is.
Yeah.
He can definitely spy on the children.
Okay, so I turn into the child, and Beast Boy tries to spy on the child with magic. What happens, DM?
Which one am I spying on?
The boy. We already know. No, the girl. Sorry, the girl.
Okay.
We don't know who she is.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Beast Boy
try
spy
and
on the girl.
cast scry to find.
The target must make a wisdom saving throw, which is modified by how well you know the target and the sort of physical connection you have to it. So if a target knows you're casting the spell, it can fail the saving throw voluntarily. So here's the thing. So Kyle's gonna be like, now he's only got like 10, right? Or less. He's not gonna be good at resisting the spell, but he's gonna be passively like his spirit is not gonna want to be seen.
Yeah.
But it's also dependent on your knowledge. So target knows you're casting the spell, blah blah. +5 first hand, you have met the target. +0 familiar, you know the target well. -5 if likeness or a picture. -2 possession or garment. -4 body part, lock of hair, bit of nail, or the like. -10. Oh, I guess that's the last part. This description is not.
Yeah, that's a weird description.
The formatting's bad.
I think it's a -2.
Look at it.
Why would body part, lock of hair, bite of nail be a -10?
Right. Okay. So it's easier to see here. So, so you're not having any of the positive, or the first portion. If you have a
maybe
likeness,
the -10 is if you like only have a lock of hair.
Yes.
And you don't know who they are,
So,
what they look like, and you're trying to find them.
Yeah. So Beast Boy, you only have the description from Cyborg. Now, Cyborg might have some imaging tech, like illusion spells that he can show you, like the pictures of the kid. I don't know if you have like minor illusion or anything, Cyborg.
I don't think that's on my list.
Okay.
Could Starfire?
I don't have any illusion spells.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she could turn into an image of the child, I guess.
Yeah.
Of Kyle. So I guess you'd see the image from Starfire. Starfire.
So it's a -5.
So basically, it's like over the course of time, you would be rolling. You would see him. I mean, you would definitely. I mean, actually, hold on. So you know a likeness or picture. So you would basically have a below average success rate over time of seeing him. Now, scrying, you can see and hear through the sensor as if you were there. The sensor moves with the target, remaining within 10 feet of it for the duration. A creature that can see and blah blah blah. What do they see? A particular creature you choose that is on the same plane of existence.
They can't see unless they have like able to see like magical.
Yeah. Now here's the thing with it is that you don't see like his surroundings, right? You don't see his context. If you see him like talking to his mom or something, you don't hear his mom, for instance.
Okay.
You only see and hear him when you cast scrying on him. And over the course of this time, I mean, you would periodically do this, I suppose, to check in on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I suppose you could do this also with the other child, although even though you don't know this person's name.
Yeah, we would probably do both.
Yeah.
But we would do both.
You can basically keep an eye on their well-being with scrying. And it's up to you guys, I guess, to keep track of how often you want to do something like that. It's been easy to do it often when there's been less crime, I guess. But it doesn't mean that you guys have been doing nothing for 3 months. There have been crimes, there have been criminals that you've stopped and things that have been happening.
Yeah.
So you can keep track of these kids. I don't necessarily think, unless you're really lucky and you like pick up on him like mentioning, "Oh, I love playing in Central Park or whatever. I love going to, Ridgedale Elementary School." That would be really
You
convenient.
see him
But I don't.
playing in a local park.
That's true.
Well, you wouldn't see the park.
No, we had been there.
When we
Oh,
had
yeah,
been there, because Cyborg ran
Yeah.
into him
Yeah.
at the park, I believe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you know that Kyle likes to play baseball, and so he'd probably go to the park on occasion. All this, I guess, to say is that you guys can definitely keep an eye on these kids.
Can I
It would
posit
take.
one more thing, even though I know we're getting in the weeds here?
Yeah, no problem.
Robin, do you have? Listen, this is a superhero show. Robin, do you have the little tracker things?
I do.
Can you put them on the children?
I could
Well, you
theoretically
need
put
to
them on the
find them.
children.
No. Listen.
Chipping children.
No, listen to me. This child comes and we know where he comes to play baseball. I want you to put one of those trackers in his fucking bag or something.
I can do that.
Let's totally do it.
I will say, yeah, that could happen. I mean, it's a child. I don't think I need to have you roll for your stealth against
I send
a
one of my
child.
spy bots to follow him
Right.
and
So
jump in his bag.
it goes in his bag. It like latches in there, in a pocket, and hides. And so you basically, yes, you have him in the list of other things that Robin pays attention to for like things. He has Kyle chipped.
Kyle chipped.
Every day I'm
Um,
getting up and I'm being like, "Can we check on the children?"
I eventually just hand her one of the transponders to the spy bot.
She's like, look, they're walking to school.
Morgan Freeman comes in and looks disappointed at us.
Robin, should we also talk to Agent Morgan about this, or should we just wait until something happens?
I think we can probably wait for a little bit. I feel like if it's a vision of the future, Agent Morgan may not even know anything about it yet. But next time we see her, we can probably bring it up and just make sure she's on the lookout.
That sounds fair.
Okay. All right, let's get to the next question.
I was wondering if we were still on question.
You asked a question that could lead into like arcs and episodes.
Yeah,
my friend.
yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
not
no,
The whole
it's
episode is just recap.
fine. It's fine to do a little setup for that. I just thought the really long parts would be like when I ask like Cyborg about whatever the fuck he's building, and so, but that's
Oh.
fine. But next,
Is
Ryan,
that my question?
no, we'll get to you,
Okay.
Ryan.
Yes.
The focus on Robin's obsessiveness has felt more intense than in the original show. We've described it as like having a friend who is an addict that you like, but you know you can't trust. How do you think that might affect Robin's approach to his role as leader moving forward?
Dang it, asking the heavy hitter questions gonna hurt you.
Yes.
I feel like it's going to be a little bit. I want to say where he is right now. He's still in the stage of not 100% seeing how obsessive he is over it. He's still thinking of it as trying to prevent and protect, from what could happen to his friends and the public. So I think while he's going to be like, it is going to be in his thought process to like, make sure his friends are, okay with certain things. I think he's still on the lines of, how can I do this in the right way this time to not have the same situation I did last time, i.e. the red X suit.
All
if
right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I mean, I suppose it's valid to also ask, like, I mean, Well, I mean, there's a dynamic. I just think that there's a little bit of a dynamic shift. I think with the relationships. So I mean, it's also relevant, I suppose, to be thinking about that from everyone else's perspective too. Like maybe think about how do you guys view Robin as a leader, like since his indiscretions, let's say.
Oh, right. I'm supposed to be here to confront him about that when he goes down the dark side. That's Cyborg's job.
Yeah, it feels like it's more been what Starfire's been doing, but it is something that traditionally Cyborg was. Did.
I do love the dynamic shift of certain things like that
Yeah.
in this change up already.
I think I take Robin out for a fishing trip, and we have a nice long talk about, hey man, you kind of suck a little sometimes.
You suck a little.
like when what did Starfire say to him in the original season 1 about like it was really cutting. It's really, man.
Oh yeah, I forget
Yeah.
what she said, but that was well
it hurts. It's like, are you even our friend or something? I don't know. It's like some shit.
I think there's a popular TV show, and it's not canon in this specific universe, called Young Justice, and we
not
watched
coming
the
out
first
for
few
years.
episodes together, and I'm like, look, you could be that Robin that ends up having to get replaced with Aqualad.
I think you can only do that kind of stuff in Teen Titans Go Die. I feel like Raven's whole opinion on this is just that, like, she's like, yeah, like, he's been kind of sucky, but also none of us are good at being leaders, so I'm just gonna stay out of it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I feel like the dynamic we sort of ended up reflecting in like the second half of last season was kind of the same but slightly more democratic leaning.
Yeah.
I think for Starfire's part, it's not like she's harboring a grudge, but obviously she doesn't have the same degree of like faith that she does in the original cartoon. The best way I can put it is like she's rooting for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
She's not like mid-20s yet and finds that hot.
No, she finds that hot.
Okay, Krista.
Yeah.
So Beast Boy got taken control of by a vampire pretty easy. How has he been feeling about that?
Pretty bad, honestly. I feel like Beast Boy has had some rough moments and doesn't really know what to do about that. And doesn't really know how to express it because he just wants to keep things positive. And he's 14.
Yeah. He's a 14-year-old boy.
14-year-old boy.
What are emotions?
I feel like there's a bit more hidden angst that he doesn't really want to acknowledge. But a little bit of building under the surface of just kind of things are a little heavy sometimes.
Yeah.
Almost as if
I'm just a 14-year-old boy.
Almost as if there's a beast with it.
Let's not bring out that episode too soon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Fair enough.
Feel like Beast Boy's kind of feeling and with the Robin thing as well, just kind of a lack of control and a lack of like kind of understanding to try and know what sometimes knowing what is what to do or like what is right is complicated.
I think that's a short thing, but very, very important thing to be thinking about with Beast Boy. I think, yeah. All right.
You know, the show made it seem so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have all this angst. What the hell?
Well, you guys went to Iraq.
That's true. They didn't do that in the
We
show.
did.
They also killed a man,
Makes a sound.
allegedly.
No, he's fine. He's our friend now.
Yeah. But we thought we killed him.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Maybe we'll get into that here. So Johnny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Booyah.
Booyah!
You've
I need to say
taken-
that more.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, that's the
Maybe
first thing.
say
Before we get
boo
into anything, you
more.
need to say
All right.
booyah.
I'll say it all the time.
Oh God.
All disaster.
Instant regrets. All right. So you've taken Cyborg in an interesting direction.
Okay.
Let's talk about your fascination with souls and their containment /
Oh, no.
manipulation. I know I'll already regret asking, but do you think that you've done anything with that? Also, just in general, since you're an artificer, I think it's fair to spend some time on this. What would you like to have been working on? Remember, it's been 3 months in game since last season.
I mean, for just the souls things, I've probably been reading a few books. I might be getting a little religious at this point, but I'm not sure exactly what direction that's take. I'm kind of soul searching. As for projects, they really started with me putting sensory arrays around the Titan's tower, along with gun and anti-aircraft turrets. But
Oh my God.
halfway through that, I got distracted at the supply store with yard signs, and I've been getting increasingly more offensive ones to put up in the yard to scare people away. I'll post a few in the chat. The first one that I got says, "No trespassing. You will be shot or bit. You decide, punk."
I knew I regret this. How does okay? I need to ask. How does everyone else feel about Cyborg's picket signs?
So Robin takes him away on a fishing trip.
The thing is,
Like,
as
listen, man, you just can't do this kind of thing. We have reputations.
and then as soon as I get back, I put up another one that says, "Warning, remember kids, electricity will kill you." And it has a picture of an electric man stabbing someone. I feel like they just ignore that one, and I put up a electric vehicle charging station sign. You don't really know why we did that, but I got a little more interesting. I had put a danger alien abduction reported in this area. Sign up. And followed quickly by all hail Megatron, global domaration.
He edited a Megatron.
Like political stars. Looking like it's out of a political party.
The last one you guys still are occasionally walk by and scratch your head at, and is probably the one that gets you the most worried about me. It says, "In this house, we believe the Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been the disaster for the human race. Dick Cheney made money off the Iraq War. The history of all hitherto existing society is a history of class struggles. I am not the CIA. Anime is the opiate of the masses. And you owe me a hot dog."
Great. I feel like Robin, like as soon as there's like a montage of him putting these down, and then Robin like walking behind him and pulling them out.
No.
I think that's because frightening security obelisks are common on Tamaran.
Okay. All right. Well. Okay. All right.
He turns into a dog and starts digging them out.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm aside from that, I'm about 3 religions in, working on a 4th.
Okay.
Oh my
So yeah,
goodness.
you're studying your avenue for like about your revelation, oh, the soul must exist in some capacity, I need to understand that, as opposed to a scientific one fully, you're also pursuing you're reading like spiritual, like fucking woo books about all sorts of things, um and also getting like weirdly political due to your past experiences in the Middle East. All right, well, that's enough of that.
I think. Does anybody know if there's a like a roll for it thing on the internet to see what religions I've been studying? Like,
I'm
Well,
sure
I
there
do.
is.
I do hope that we can keep nudging the timeline so that eventually Dick Cheney is the final boss.
Okay. All right. So all that's been happening, but keep in mind also, you've been working on repairing Cinderblock,
oh
and
right,
I have a general sense of like what you can make him into. Like you kind of repair his body, you take all the big adjustments that were made to him and kind of make them more personal to him. You can miniaturize them and make what's been done to him more in tune with what his body is actually was originally like. And some thoughts I've had since, I mean, and he will also make like
right.
suggestions, right? He doesn't speak, but like you guys have a way to understand him, so he
Yeah,
will
there's a
also,
little button that blinks red or blue depending on if he likes it or
yeah,
dislikes it.
yeah,
I can turn into I have been periodically turning into Earth Elemental and bonding.
right, um for sure. And so he
I keep wanting
lives
to show him things and try and get him to like eat pizza and stuff.
so he lives in one of the sub garage levels, where you work on your car, Cyborg, because that's really the only place with space for him. And also, um, I mean, you can manage to get him to different parts of the tower, but those parts of the tower sometimes have like big windows, like the main room. You don't want a
Mhm.
news crew in a helicopter looking in and being like, "Yo, this is a story."
Yeah,
Cinderblock,
exactly.
in the Titans Tower. So you've been kind of keeping him on the down low, down there. But after this time, he's getting pretty close to where he can start functioning in his new body better on his own. Now, how you're going to incorporate that into your team dynamic in the future is a question. You also don't really want to take him into Jump City. So he kind of just chills. And for now, he's okay, but we will see how that progresses.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot he got a new body. What did
Right.
it?
So
What did we do with
basically,
his
this is
body?
what I'm envisioning. And if you have specific suggestions, Cyborg, you can
Right.
message me with them. I think we'll cover it that way since we don't spend too
Right.
much
I'll
time on
think
it.
on it. I have some ideas, but I need to refine.
So basically, I think that the parts of his body that have been like broken up and that have been mechanized instead of big stone. So like have you've like reintegrated components like your blue like body plates that you have, like circuitry plates. And
Right.
so he has that stuff incorporated throughout his body. That big arm that got turned into a big hyper drill, um uninstalled a lot of that, but you reinstalled a portion. He seemed to like the drill but didn't like how unwieldy it was, so you
Right.
kind of miniaturized it. And you know the way that you turn your hand into a cannon or a helpful tool, you made it so that the he has a hand again, but he can transform it into a drill and
Oh, that's
punch with
super
the drill.
sweet.
So
Nice.
That
really like
is super cool.
retractable aspect. And otherwise, you just kind of like really like built stuff. Mostly in the chest piece, he kind of looks more like you now because you added components there, so that he wouldn't
Right.
just be this hollow, caved out cockpit that someone
Right.
could jump in and
Which would
mess
be
around
bad.
with. Yeah.
We don't want that. It's
So he
possible I would build in some fail safes, but nothing that's like direct. I am usurping your
right.
agency thing.
For sure. And so he's been happier now that the um those repairs have started to wind down. He's not
Right.
quite done yet, but it's much better than it was. And that's kept you very busy. I think that like these side interests of yours have been side interests. You've
Right.
put up picket signs, but you haven't been able to
Right.
catch Robin taking them down quite as often as you would like.
Let's be honest, that didn't take that much time of thought and effort.
Right,
It's,
right.
It's he and even the religious stuff has been. You can do more than just that.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, cool.
Yeah,
I think Beast Boy has also tried to introduce like modern slang and stuff to him.
He just kind of grumbles. I mean, he can say it in Elemental,
In
but
Terran.
he kind of like tries to mimic it a little bit in Common, but it doesn't. It just sounds like rocks.
Well, yeah, I would probably be talking to him in Terran too.
Right.
It's
So
Yeah.
It's
we
slowly
have
bu-
inside jokes. I don't know. It's weird.
it slowly builds like the apes in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. He's just like, no!
I'm just imagining that meme of the one and the guy, the one ape, the guy going like you like telling him jokes, and then just like that ape going, "Oh no, oh no!"
Yeah, dude.
But all right, so that is way more time, but then we need to spend. That is our questions. Theme music. I'm remembering how to do this.